gear at the start, Niki Lauda and Rosberg were left on the line and had to recover. It is absolutely critical, of course, that they get away cleanly and smoothly when the lights go from red to green for this 60-lap race, 188 miles, just a whisker short of it. Senna's away beautifully, so is De Angelis. Up comes Alboreto into third position. Behind Alboreto already is Alain Prost in fourth position as they stream round the Tamburello in fifth gear. It's Senna leading, De Angelis second, Alboreto is in third position, Prost is in fourth position, and Keke Rosberg challenging for fifth with Nigel Mansell right behind him in sixth position. In seventh place, it's Niki Lauda as they go up to the Tosa bend. That's a tight hairpin down into second gear. Senna is into it first. Now, as they go round and away uphill.
Prost now having a look round the back of Alboreto's car, but we're off to a pretty clean start, and one would have to say that all the favourites are up at the front at the moment.
But it's Senna leading, De Angelis second, Prost right up with Alboreto. Behind Prost is the Williams of Keke Rosberg. Behind Rosberg is Niki Lauda. And now, are we going to see the beautifully balanced McLarens, which always go better during the race than they do during practice on account of the fact that they can't use a very high boost during practice, come up through the field? But bad news for Jonathan Palmer and his followers. Into the pit on the very first lap goes the British driver in his Zakspeed car, in which he's had a fair amount of trouble in practice. And the race order now is Senna, the pole position man, winner in Portugal, leading. His teammate De Angelis right up with him in second place. There is Alboreto. Fourth is Prost. Fifth is Rosberg. Then there's Nigel Mansell. So both the Williams cars are in the top six. As De Angelis, now Alboreto with Prost. I was going to say tight up behind him, but he's not tight enough up behind him to start to challenge Alboreto in the Ferrari for third position. Senna, De Angelis.
And the Lotuses really do look beautifully balanced on their chassis. The cars look very nice to drive, and De Angelis, who after all has been number one at Lotus for a couple of years now, or sort of performing as number one, will be giving everything to try and stop the surge through to seniority of Ayrton Senna. There is one of the Renaults.
It's Derek Warwick, who's had a dreadfully fraught practice, a very, very unhappy man on both Friday and Saturday. So the race is definitely between these four cars. Ayrton Senna leading in the dry just as convincingly as he led in the wet at Estoril for the Portuguese Grand Prix 2 weeks ago, leading his teammate Elio De Angelis. And by the way, it is not appreciated by everybody that the reason Elio De Angelis dropped back through the field to fourth position in Portugal was because he actually had a slow puncture in one of his front wheels, and that's Mauro Baldi in the Spirit car. Senna leads, De Angelis second, Prost right up with Alboreto in third place. Those four pulling away from Rosberg fifth, Lauda sixth, Piquet seventh, Mansell eighth, Chiva ninth, Boutsen 10th, De Cesaris 11th, Johansson in 12th position. Warwick is in 15th place and Brundle is 19th.
So Lauda has got to get past Rosberg, which in fact he has now done. So Lauda is now in clear fifth place, and the question now is whether he can close that gap. Prost is undoubtedly being a little bit held up by Alboreto, but he's very much in contention.
What a wonderful scrap for the first four places, with Prost trying to take Alboreto on the inside. Alboreto having nothing of it, keeping the inside line and accelerating up towards the Rettifilio, from it and onto the Piratella.
And that was naughty by Alboreto. He pushed Prost onto the grass. Alboreto was slow through that corner, and he really ought to have done that. But yes, he's looking guiltily in his mirror there, just to have a look, see where Prost was. but he knew Prost was beside him at that point, and I think Prost would have every justification in being pretty angry.
That's that's Eno walking in, Francois Eno, and already Berger in the BMW-powered Arrows and Riccardo Patrese in the Alfa Romeo have had turbo trouble. I suspect that Prost is the fastest man on the track, or would be, if only he could get past Alboreto. Alboreto, of course, is on the racing line, which is where he should be. And Prost, now there, Alboreto through to take De Angelis, and second place, Michele Alboreto, to the joy of the Tifosi on the hillside, overlooking the Piratella ascent, is up into second place ahead of Elio De Angelis.
It was so unexpected that I think De Angelis was expecting it as little as I was, and I think he was just simply caught napping. He was taking the conventional line, not watching in his mirrors, thinking probably that Alboreto was busy dealing with Prost.
Senna laps Baldi. Now Baldi's in the way of Alboreto, and I'll tell you this, if Alboreto catches and gets past Senna, there's going to be a national holiday declared in Italy very shortly, and there'll be a gigantic eruption from the Ferrari Pro crowd.
Yes, I have to say that I think De Angelis is in some sort of trouble. Prost is now taking him. He's going to get him, and Nelson Piquet has come into the pits. Can't see why as yet, but I suspect it might be tyres. I think they may have gone on a soft compound.
Ayrton Senna in the yellow helmet on the Lotus leads Michele Alboreto, number 27 in the Ferrari. Then in third position is Alain Prost. Fourth in the white helmet is Elio De Angelis. In fifth position, it's Niki Lauda, and now up into sixth position has come Keke Rosberg as Nelson Piquet has gone into the pits. And we are now on lap 13 out of 60. That's De Cesaris. I wonder if that's a tyre problem, but for whatever reason, De Cesaris in the Ligier has gone off. Senna, Alboreto, Prost, De Angelis fourth, Lauda closing up in fifth place. Keke Rosberg is still sixth, with Stefan Johansson starting to challenge in the second Ferrari. In fact, Johansson right up with Rosberg, and I think we're going to see two Ferraris in the top six before this race is over, and it's not beyond the bounds of possibility that one of them, probably Alboreto, could win.
I have to say, at the moment, looks to be the old story. The McLaren of Alain Prost. McLaren, we know their reliability is good. We know they can run on full power for the full distance without having to conserve fuel. And Prost really looks very comfortable. Lauda is still stuck behind De Angelis.
No, Niki Lauda has now got past Elio De Angelis. He's up into fourth place. There's a gap of only about 6 seconds between world champion Niki Lauda chasing his teammate number 2 there, Alain Prost, who is in third position. And there is Piercarlo Ghinzani in the new Osella in the pits after a very rewarding practice. 9th fastest in the warm-up this morning. Senna, Alboreto, Prost, first, second, third. Lauda fourth and gaining. De Angelis slipping down through the field, fifth but still in the points. Rosberg is in 7th place because Johansson has now definitely passed the Williams, and Stefan Johansson in the Ferrari, the Swedish driver, in his second Grand Prix for the Maranello concern, is in the points.
So we've got 3 leading cars, and now you see how close Niki Lauda is now. That was Niki Lauda in the background, and he's really hauling them in very fast. So we're going to have a 4-way fight for the lead, and the cars are very evenly matched, which is going to make overtaking and tactics, overtaking very difficult, and therefore tactics mighty important.
What an entrancing, intriguing, riveting race this is, because the first 3 are also the leaders in the World Championship. Alboreto is second in the race, leads the World Championship, and Senna, who is leading the race, and Prost, who is third in the race, are second equal with 9 points in the World Championship. Niki Lauda, of course, is really being stung into action because he failed to finish at both Brazil and Portugal, as Alboreto is now really pushing for the lead. And Niki Lauda, in 4th position but gaining, needs points. And Prost right front almost clips Alboreto's left rear.
Yeah, the problem Alboreto's got now, I said he was starting to look around it, but I think Alboreto's in a bit of trouble and Prost is through. So, Alboreto, difficult to say what the problem is, but he certainly seemed to slow a bit and he was blocking everywhere he could, but Prost has finally done it, and I anticipate, and there of course is Lauda in the background getting very close. See there's little puddles left over from this morning's rain, but of course the racing line is dry, but Prost was forced off the racing line there to drive round Alboreto. That almost looked like a bit of gearbox trouble. It looked as if he missed a gear. But Lauda is on top of Alboreto now, so Alboreto is in definite trouble, and it looks mechanical. I suspect that Alboreto slowed right down, and he looks like it's quite serious. I thought at first it was gearbox, but it's hard to tell from here. But certainly that looks like the end of Alboreto's race, certainly as far as contending for the lead is concerned.
Lauda third, and there, very much in flames, is Jacques Lafitte's Ligier. That's obviously a turbo blaze, and of course Lafitte will be able to see that conflagration in his wing mirrors. He is coolly parking the car somewhere safe, but he's going to be out of it like a cork out of a bottle in just a moment. And into the pits comes Michele Alboreto, having been right up to second place. Let's see what happens. There's no sign of the tyres being changed. The clock is being run, but it's totally irrelevant, because to the gloom and despondency of the crowd over his left shoulder, Michele Alboreto looks to me as though he's out of the San Marino Grand Prix. And Niki Lauda, with everything to gain by catching and passing his teammates, is now charging for second place. There is the second place man, and you've just seen the caption which indicated that Niki Lauda is the fastest man on the track, and he's catching Alain Prost. There are no team orders, I repeat, no team orders between Prost and Lauda in the McLaren team.
And Lauda slowed right down then in the chicane before the pit, and you see he's now gone from the picture, but that looks like trouble for Lauda. In the meantime, Niki Lauda has got going again and is holding the gap, although he's some 11 seconds behind Alain Prost at the moment. But Prost is well placed in the tow again, but he only seems to be able to get half alongside the very aerodynamic Lotus, and I don't think that's going well. He's not, a lot of pushing each other, but Senna still has the inside for the corner. You see, and that is Alain Prost's problem. Senna is doing everything right in front. Prost is potentially quicker than him, but Prost having a look now, they're all over each other. And this is really tremendous stirring stuff. They're both, Senna, despite his relatively new arrival on the Formula One scene, believe me, is a very experienced driver, very experienced at wheel-to-wheel racing. And he had a reputation sometimes when being challenged for the lead in Formula 3 of being a little bit hot-headed, a little bit overprotective to his lead. But I think we're looking at a more mature Ayrton Senna now. That was a couple of years ago. But Prost is giving him every ounce of pressure he can.
Both of these men brought up in the very hard, competitive world of kart racing. Senna second in the World Championship twice. Prost the next kart European champion. But Senna withstanding the enormous pressure that the more experienced Grand Prix driver, Alain Prost, is applying to him in an incredibly matured way. Keke Rosberg is out. Lauda is back to fourth position, and Elio De Angelis, as I talk to you, has retaken third position. Niki Lauda must be in some sort of trouble, whether it's gearbox, brakes, tyres, turbo, intercooler, or what, I obviously don't know. But nevertheless, the great Austrian world champion is down a place.
Stefan Johansson might just be the quickest man on the track at the moment, because he is something like, well, we'll see 20 seconds behind leader Ayrton Senna. And I wasn't watching the gap very carefully earlier in the race, but I have a feeling that he was a lot further than that behind say, 15 laps ago.
And we just saw him momentarily. He's up with and actually passed Niki Lauda. Stefan Johansson in the Ferrari in only his second Grand Prix. There he is for the Italian team. He's now in 4th position. Derek Warwick, by the way, has come into the pits. And Boutsen now, as I talk to you, Boutsen has moved into 6th place in the Arrows BMW ahead of Nelson Piquet. So it's Senna leading Prost, De Angelis 3rd, leading Johansson 4th. Lauda is in 5th position, Boutsen is in 6th place, and so after all their efforts, the Jackie Oliver and Alan Rees and Dave Wass-led team are seeing one of their Arrows cars in the points again, in 6th place.
Stefan Johansson, there he is. He's very close to the Angelis now.
And look at this, because as I said, Boutsen and Piquet, battling for 6th position, have now got right up behind them. De Angelis and Johansson battling for 3rd.
This is a potential opportunity for Johansson to get past, because Boutsen and Piquet are very busy battling amongst themselves, and they're not going to probably have enough time to make room for De Angelis, and so it's essential that Johansson watches very carefully and looks for the gap.
Piquet goes through to 6th ahead of Boutsen. Johansson tries to take, and he does it. Stefan Johansson takes Elio De Angelis and bumps wheels, and now he's going to go through and try and take Boutsen and lap him. De Angelis fights back, but he's lost the opportunity now. And with Stefan Johansson now in 3rd position in the Ferrari, he's done it. He's got past exactly as James said he might. And watch and listen to the crowd.
Fantastic stuff, very exciting stuff. I got nearly as excited as if I'd been in one of the cars then, because Johansson gets through, but he's now blocked by Boutsen, and he's had to force through out. I think they just touched rear wheels then.
This is 53 laps completed. 12 Senna leads, 2 Prost second, 28 Johansson third, 5 seconds behind Prost incidentally, and he's catching him. In 4th position it's De Angelis. 5th is Lauda, who has been lapped. 6th in the points, Nelson Piquet. 7th Boutsen, 8th Mansell. 9th Tombe. Then Eddie Cheever has just retired, so his 10th place has been taken over by Martin Brundle. A magnificent recovery after his big accident yesterday. Johansson goes through and takes Alain Prost. Stefan Johansson is up into 2nd place. Magnificent. Now, watch the Tifosi. See the hats and the arms waving in the background as little leaf Stefan Johansson, 28 years old, in only his 12th Grand Prix, only his 2nd Ferrari drive, makes himself the hero of Italy by going up into 2nd place and taking Alain Prost. And the gap now between Senna in the lead and Johansson, who is in 2nd position, catching Nelson Piquet, who is in either 6th or 5th. And look at the flags waving. So Piquet is in 5th place. Niki Lauda has lost that place. Ayrton Senna through the Acqua Minerale bend, climbing now to the Valle Anta Alta, down into 2nd gear, 95 miles an hour, lapping Derek Warwick again, closing up on Nigel Mansell, who is in 9th position in the Williams, and surges past the Isle of Man driver, Nigel Mansell, and down he goes, Senna, into the Rivazza, the double lap.
Senna's in trouble, could be fuel. So Senna slowed right down out of the blue, and and there is Stefan Johansson right behind him. So Stefan Johansson sets the challenge, and if that's fuel, Senna has no chance of making it. He's slowed right down. Stefan Johansson goes into the lead. What an amazing turn up, and this looks as if Stefan Johansson, in his 2nd drive for Ferrari, is going to win his 1st Grand Prix, and that would be quite something. What a wonderful story. He's tried for so many years.
I will tell you this, that the Italian crowd is absolutely beside itself with euphoria and excitement, as well they might be, because as James said, victory snatched from him by Stefan Johansson in the Ferrari, and Stefan Johansson is now on his 58th lap out of 60.
Yes, and Senna, if it is fuel, which is the obvious suspicion, probably won't pick up any points at all, because he's unlikely to be able to limp round for 3 laps. And that's Johansson. Johansson's in trouble now. Johansson is probably in fuel trouble, and Prost has now gone into the lead.
What an incredible finish to the San Marino Grand Prix. First of all, Senna slows, and Johansson passes in to take the lead. Then Johansson does exactly the same thing. Such is the pace of this race. They have been absolutely on maximum fuel consumption. Now we know that the Porsche designed TAG engine is extremely fuel efficient, and I'll stick my neck out and say it's unlikely that Prost is going to run out of fuel, in which case he will win for the 2nd year in succession.
Yes, we see what happened. They had a damp warm-up this morning, and the track this afternoon has been very, very quick, which puts up the fuel consumption. We've seen the lap record being absolutely pulverized during the course of the race. They've gone faster and faster, and this undoubtedly will have thrown the fuel consumption plans. And there is Senna parked off the track, presumably out of fuel, and so Senna not even going to finish this race.
And to confirm that, with Johansson out of the race too, Elio De Angelis is up into 2nd place. Here is the race leader, Alain Prost, on his 59th lap. He has got 1 lap to go when he has dropped downhill here, gone round the double left at the Rivazza, into the Variante Bassa, onto the Trequardo. He will be into his last 3-mile lap, and Nelson Piquet is out too.
Yes, this extremely fast pace has really caused havoc, but McLarens have always run with a bit of a margin. Now, does Prost know that he's got a huge lead over Elio De Angelis, and therefore can take it really gently around the last lap and not force his fuel consumption?
And he's on his last lap. Prost leading, De Angelis 2nd, Johansson is out, Senna is out, Piquet is out, which means that Boutsen will have moved up into 3rd position. Niki Lauda should be in 4th place, although he has got Tombe right on his tail, so it could be Tombe 4th and Lauda 5th. We won't know until the end of this lap. But now Alain Prost is almost home to win his 18th Grand Prix, which is his 76th race in his 16 years of experience, and in so doing he will add 9 points to the 9 that he got for winning in Brazil. He failed to finish in Portugal, so Prost will be in the lead in the World Championship. I've said this about Senna. I wasn't going to say it about Johansson because he wasn't, but I've said it now about Prost, and Alain Prost has got a very short distance to go. He's only got now the Rivazza bends, the 2 left-handers, and then as he comes up to the Variante Bassa and the Trequardo, the right and then the left and the right-left again, he could kick out the clutch and coast home to the checkered flag and victory at San Marino, his 2nd of the year. He's going to do it. Alain Prost is going to win for the 2nd year in succession. Out of the last corner he comes, a victory he probably never expected to get, and Alain Prost is across the line, the winner of the 1985 San Marino Grand Prix. There is Elio De Angelis, 2nd position. Thierry Boutsen has run out of petrol on the starting line as the checkered flag goes out for Elio De Angelis to finish in 2nd place. Boutsen was 3rd, and Patrick Tombe is a lap behind him, and Stefan Johansson actually smiling. Well, there is a man with courage and good humour. He will certainly be the hero of Italy, not only for having led, but for the way he deported himself, having had to retire through no fault of his own after a magnificent victory. And that is Niki Lauda touring in. There's Boutsen pushing in. He's got his front wheels across the line. He's got to get his rear wheels across the line. And now he has done so. So Boutsen has finished. And it's really a matter of conjecture, with Johansson doubling in to receive congratulations and plaudits all round, and well deserved. The fact is that with Prost having run out of fuel on the rundown lap, that's how close it was in this incredible San Marino Grand Prix, and I bet we'll never see a Grand Prix more exciting than that. So, thanks to the fuel efficiency of the TAG engine, victory for the second year in succession goes to Alain Prost in the McLaren. Second, Elio De Angelis. Third, Thierry Boutsen. Fourth, Patrick Tambay. Fifth, Niki Lauda. And sixth, Nigel Mansell. In the Drivers' Championship, Alain Prost now leads Elio De Angelis by 5 points. Third, Michele Alboreto. Fourth, equal, Patrick Tambay and Ayrton Senna. And in sixth position, Thierry Boutsen. The John Player Special Team Lotus team lead the Constructors' Championship 2 points ahead of McLaren, with Ferrari third and Renault in fourth position. Well, it's Monaco maintaining the excitement in 2 weeks' time, but today, without a doubt, the two young men of the race were Ayrton Senna and Stefan Johansson.
Well, the car worked a lot better than it ever did in practice. We did some changes overnight and it improved the car very much.
Now, who did you have trouble getting past in your meteoric climb up to the lead?
Well, Chiva was quite difficult initially, and then De Angelis was very difficult because we were more or less the same speed, and he was very fast in the straight, which is more or less the only place you can overtake in this circuit.
Now, you must have known you'd taken the lead when you saw all the Ferrari fans around the course going absolutely berserk. But when did you know you got a fuel problem?
About half a lap later.
A bit disappointed, of course, because after almost pushing the whole race distance, the car was good, everything was good. I kept the tires, I kept the brakes at the beginning, and I think we ran out of fuel.
But with the crowds pouring away comes the sensational news that Alain Prost, the supposed winner, has been disqualified because his car was found to be underweight at the end of the race. And that means that after all, a John Player Special Team Lotus car did win, that of Elio De Angelis. A wonderful race, one of the most exciting Grand Prix surely of all time, and that augurs well for Monaco in 2 weeks' time. Do be there.
Body of motorsport.